For you.
Just thank you. Have fun. It wasn't even teacher appreciation week.
All right, thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the school board meeting of September 1st, 2022. If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, Kelly, if you want to do roll call, please.
Brian Boyle. Kim McCormick.
Here.
Mark Sherwood.
Here.
Kristen Savage. Here. Steve Finnegan.
Here.
Kim Farah.
Here.
Shauna Manthorn. Here. Kay Knutson. Here. Michael Boucher.
Here.
Thank you. We do have a packet of meeting minutes in there from the August 18th meeting. If you can just take a look, please.
I'll make a motion to accept the August 18th minutes.
Thank you. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Good, thank you. We do also, Superintendent Kellen passed out the non-public meeting minutes. If you can take a look at those, please. Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like there is two of them from August 18th and August 23rd.
I'll make a motion to accept the August 18th non-public minutes.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. And all in favor? Thank you. 8. Sorry. You can count faster than I can.
I'll make a motion to approve the August 23rd, 2022 non-public minutes.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. 602. If we can collect those, please. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any delegates or individuals? I do. I have one. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Mr. Sapia? That's all right.
That's okay.
If you want to come on up, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Good
So I'll keep this as short as Jack Sapia can keep this. Good
Want to
evening.
remind you, delegates are limited to 3 minutes.
This is a good thing. I don't think there are too many people behind me. So as many issues as I'd like to discuss tonight, from the fentanyl crisis to the impact on learning from COVID to the decline in academic scores nationally, I have a positive challenge for this school board. There was a song back in the 70s, back when Brian Boyle and I weighed about 150 pounds. United we stand, divided we fall. And we're so divided as a nation right now. And I believe that this generation will be faced with challenges like no other. And we, in this country, must come together from the polarization of today. Let Timberlane begin to show the way. And what better subject that I think we can all agree on are our veterans and our first responders. Make this the year of the veteran and the first responder here at Timberlane. What I am suggesting is the following. Every morning I get, via email, 2 or 3 different posts on American history and what happened on that particular day. Anything from the Revolutionary War to World War II, World War I, other great moments of American history, which there is so much to be proud of. Why not give a minute each morning to share this with the classes, to share our greatness after the Pledge of Allegiance? And let us honor those who quietly rest in places of honor around the world so we can have our freedom. This would allow our children to learn part of the heritage that is theirs. Take a moment each day to celebrate a moment in history. I asked the class not too long ago how many of you had ever been to Gettysburg, Arlington Cemetery. It was a class of about 25, not one. As a matter of fact, most of them didn't even know what Arlington Cemetery was. In addition, let's bring a Gold Star family or a veteran in once a month to speak to the students. It will be a humbling and educational experience for them to understand and hear this firsthand of the sacrifices that so many have made. And let the community let the school and the community do a number of fundraisers to make a substantial donation to Tunnels to Tower or whatever patriotic organization that you guys would deem necessary. But I think it's a shame that Frank Silla has to beg for $11 a month for disabled men and women and those families that have given and lost so much. And I know many of these families and their pain. From this, I would submit to this board that our children would learn more than history. They would learn teamwork, a better understanding of what brave men and women have done for us, humility, charity, and more importantly, it would start uniting us as a nation and as a community. If these are assets that you believe will serve our children well, that will give them the common goal and bring us a little closer together, then please accept this challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sabia. All right, moving to current business. So I'm just going to ask the New Hampshire School Board Association resolutions. We do have to vote on them. So we did get this. I don't want to go through all of these individually. I will open it up to ask if there are any questions on any of them.
Normally what we do is the New Hampshire School Board Association has already made recommendations on them. So by default, we'll go with those recommendations unless somebody doesn't agree with those. And then our delegate, when they go to vote, votes however we decide as a board. So if you've read through, is anybody in opposition with the New Hampshire School Board's rationale? If not, we'll just, who's the delegate?
I am,
It's Kim.
yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I forgot.
So Kim will, so ultimately, Kim, we'll just vote, we'll have you vote with recommendations from the New Hampshire School Board Association.
So does anybody have any issues with that?
No.
Okay.
I read through them, and, I mean, I don't know if everyone had a chance to read through them.
Yeah, I read through them too, so, I guess the action, I'll make a motion to authorize the delegate to vote,
In accordance with.
thank you, in accordance with the New Hampshire School Board Association recommendations.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Great, thank you. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks. Sorry.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
Oh.
He's happy to be here.
Oh, exactly.
The school, next is the updated TRSD school calendar. We have an executive summary.
I think this is updated because of the training that's going on, and that's gonna require some early release days that weren't
Yep.
on there.
Correct.
Correct. So, just for the people at home, I'll just go through, or Chris, if you want to go through and just highlight what those early release days proposed would be.
Sure. We are looking to create additional early release days for the 5 elementary schools and the middle school in the month of October, which would occur in addition to the October 20th early release day for all of those schools. The high school's early release day, we would not be looking for an additional early release day for the high school. The purpose of those early release days would be to provide safety training with all of our staff in a 3 to 4 hour block. This is a recommendation of the safety committee. And it is, I'll say it the one time, ALICE training, where we are engaging in a new response to an emergency situation in the event that there were an intruder in one of our schools. And we have discussed with the TTA, although quite agreeable in our original conversation, they do want to have the opportunity to go back to their membership and just inform them and with respect to an MOU that would be required, because in addition to the early release day on those days, and I'll explain those even a little bit more specifically, what we'd be looking at is adding 2 of the 1 hour monthly meetings from the month of October to each of the early release days. So in the executive summary, you see that there is a schedule. So we are proposing that on October 17th, TLC/Sandown Central would have an early release day at 1 o'clock. In addition, the professional staff, we would be parlaying those 2 1-hour October monthly meetings, so we create a 4-hour block for that training. It's a 3 to 4 hour requirement to conduct that training completely. And so, looking to do that at the middle school on October 19th, same model, but early release would occur at 12 o'clock for the middle school, as it does consistently. On October 20th, it would be the high school with an early release day of 12 o'clock. On October 20th, all of the other schools would also still have an early release day, because for the elementary schools and the middle school, those are parent-teacher conferences that are held virtually. On October 24th, Atkinson Academy would have an early release day starting at 1 o'clock, and then the additional 2 hours would give them the opportunity from 1 to 4. On October 25th, Sandown North. October 26th, Danville Elementary, and on October 27th, Pollard School. And all of those elementary schools releasing at 1 o'clock.
Great.
Can I just add on to that real quick? I mean, we realize this isn't typical, but this is something that we need to move forward with. Safety committee meetings, we've been talking about this extensively, and it's a matter of getting this training done, and in order to get it done, we need the police departments from every town to be available, and they need to be on site at the school to get the maximum training. And the only way to do that is to, again, take every department at one school, so it can't all be done on the same day. It has to be different days, so this was the best way that we could come up with after months of trying to figure out how to effectuate it. So we understand it might not be convenient for some parents and whatnot, but we're hoping that everyone can work with us on this, because it's important to have this training for our schools.
Kim?
Well, the issue I have with this is you have an early release for the middle school on October 19th. You don't have it for the high school or for the elementary schools, so it's a busing problem.
I've already worked with First Student, and they are able to accommodate us for busing.
Okay.
Part of that being their shortages. We're going to capitalize on some of that by being, them having increased flexibility to provide transportation to us. But good question.
Are there any other questions?
So are we voting on this tonight, or do does it need to go back to the union, or?
Well,
I didn't speak, let me speak to the TSSU as well. I apologize. TSSU, while they fully support and agree with the necessity of this kind of training, they would not speak in support of it. They would not agree to support it. They wanted me to be sure that I voiced that they did not necessarily support it. They do want to go to their membership. Their concerns are a bit different with regard to their membership and having other obligations at the end of the school day, that they feel as though, they would be available for that first part, but they weren't sure, and they believe that they have a portion of their membership that either have additional jobs, childcare, elderly parent responsibilities. Those were a couple of the things that were described to me, and that's of concern to them. They did agree to survey their membership to find out, what kind of numbers are we talking about? We all know about some, but are we talking about a large percentage? We do, the safety committee, we did talk about the fact that there are going to be people that miss the training, and we're going to need to have an element of makeup, and it would be very much one-to-one or in small group where our trainers, police department trainers, we also have 2 of our administrative staff that are being trained, go and work directly with those folks. But there's still that nuance of, you can't do this in front of the kids in their exact space. We'll have to make some accommodations that are going to, allow them to provide the type of training that they need in some modified way, probably during the school day. But so we do look forward to hearing from the TSSU as well.
Okay, so I will, it sounds like we'll hold off on voting on this until our next meeting, where you have feedback from. I'm asking,
Yeah,
because I
so-
don't know the answer to that.
My interpretation of both of those contracts, I believe that we have the latitude to make those decisions. As far as the TSSU, I believe that as well. However, I'm not the attorney. I did reach out to our counsel on the TSSU, because at the time I thought we were in agreement. I apologize with the TTA, but I think we are pretty much, But the TSSU, our attorney did concur preliminarily with my interpretation at the time, but she was going to read deeper into it and get back to us.
Okay, so with that being said, I'd like to wait until our next meeting. These meetings, these dates are all in October. I don't think we lose much waiting 2 weeks so that those memberships can caucus.
Well,
Go ahead, Kim, sorry.
I tend to disagree about, I'm fine about waiting, but I think I would notify parents that this is gonna
Yes.
Well, that's-
potentially
yeah.
happen, because
Right.
as a single parent, these things get really,
Yes.
even for 2
Agreed.
parents.
So can we put them on the website as proposed changes to the school
Right,
calendar?
put
There will
put
be-
something out that it's
Yes,
potential
absolutely.
Has to.
gonna happen.
Yep.
At least then you're preparing for it.
Yes.
And we definitely need to make it a definitive decision at the next.
Okay.
There's a question.
Question, and again, for the new guy in the room, could we vote contingent upon the approval of XYZ?
I'm not, I mean,
No?
if I'm, no, I didn't say no.
It was a rattling to your
Well,
left.
no, but I guess the question is I don't know that we need, based on what I'm hearing in the contracts, this is not based on those 2 unions coming back and saying yes or no. We have to understand what the legal, we
Yes.
need to hear from
Implications are, okay.
our legal team to make that determination. So and that's why I would disagree about putting this out there.
You have to.
Okay.
You have to notify parents that, please mark your calendars that this is a proposed early release day for your school and your students, and plan accordingly, and
Yep.
final vote will be made in 2 weeks, just so, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If you
Yeah,
just say, please
I just think
be,
it causes a bigger disruption if we say, plan for this time.
But
and-
if we don't, and then it happens on September 15th, then it takes a week or 2 for that information to really get out there, and now we're right there into it. And then people are gonna
Yeah,
be scrambling
that's-
for,
that's fine.
what do they do, so.
We can disagree, but
I
that's
mean,
fine.
it gives time for somebody like the Y or somebody to create a
After
program
some-
for that
Yes,
day or something
exactly.
like that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep, they could get staffing and
Okay.
things.
The concern being, we didn't want to confuse families with dates, and then if we had to change anything, but
Yep.
Yeah,
we are at this point, and that's why we wanted to wait until this point, but now at this point, we do, I think, need to, save the date and very clear. I'll make sure that the message is very clear and in using a variety of media.
okay,
Thank you.
great. Next is a donation from TRHS Substance Abuse Program. Is anybody else presenting on this?
Mr. Lena?
Okay, so it looks like there is a $750 donation. Okay,
So I'll make a motion to approve the donation of,
no, go ahead, I just wanted to tell the public who's not.
oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah,
you had
that's
Scott,
okay.
so go ahead.
So it's a $750 donation from the Atkinson Women's Civic Club, supporters of Partners in Prevention of Substance Abuse here at the high school. Donation will be used to support the teen mental health first aid course that will be offered to students this year for workbooks and supplies.
I'll make a motion to accept the $750 donation from the Atkinson Women's Civic Club.
I'll second.
Thank them.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you.
Can I just jump in with one thing, because this relates to mental health or whatever? And it was on the radio on the way over. At one point, we were, as you're aware, there's been quite a bit of legal action in terms of opioids. And we should check with Drummond and Woodson about that, because I think there was a group of schools were involved in class action there, and I don't know if where that ever went. I know when I was chair that I signed something about our district getting involved in that. Kristen, you know anything about that? You know what
I
I'm
don't know
talking about,
anything,
though.
I know what you're talking about, and I don't know anything
But I
current, but I
think
think
there were
it's,
some big settlements, and I don't know if we're gonna maybe get something
Yeah.
out of those, so.
For purposes of funding education and
Yeah,
things like
yeah,
that for
so the
schools.
costs to the districts because of the
Yeah.
opioid crisis
Yeah.
in the schools.
Okay.
Into it.
Thank you. Next is the second read and adoption for policies. GBEA, GBEAB, IKF, JFABD, JFABE, and JICH. Are there any,
I'll make a motion to accept those policies for a second read
and adoption?
and adoption.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any conversations, questions, concerns? All in favor? Great, thank you. Next is the school financial reporting.
Everyone.
Hi, Maria.
So I wanted to let you know the MS-25, the DOE 25, and the MS-24 have been approved. They have been submitted, they are uploaded into the DRA and DOE. Our year is closed, audited, final, done.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well done.
Again, give a very, very, very big shout out to Lisa Oliver, my assistant BA, and my entire team. Carrie has been also instrumental to where we are today, and I cannot be more thankful to all of them. We have done a big, big progress. I think for the ones that have been here for a while know that this is.
Yeah. And you should probably notify the town that that's in, because once the town gets theirs in, they can set the tax rates, which have
Yep.
been problematic,
Jamie
so.
Dowd has, at the DRA, has everything that she needs to set up tax rates.
But what I'm saying is I would notify the administrators in the 4 towns so they know, because it will then
I
hopefully
will.
cue them. Because sometimes what happens is 3 towns will get theirs done and 1 town doesn't, and then none of the towns could set their tax rates.
Okay.
So
I
that
can
just
definitely
as a-
send that email.
Just to let them know, that'd be great. That will maybe prompt the town to get theirs done if they're not done already. It's not meant,
Yeah,
not
I can
meant to.
definitely do that. So everything is done. Now we're moving forward to having our budget done, which we are already up and running. All the budget directors are looking into the budgets, entering into the system. So I have a consolidated budget, and we start our presentations for the budget committee, which I believe is the next item in the agenda. If I can go
Yep,
with it.
please do, yeah.
So you have a copy of the budget presentation schedules that the budget committee approved last week. Once again, the budget committee wants to invite the school board for a combined meeting on November 22nd. They have it open if you guys are available and if you want to make that happen. The chair and the entire budget committee wanted me to let you know that they are requesting for you to have a joint meeting, so I just have it there with a question mark in case you want to make it happen. Again, is the schedule. We have the first meetings on the 22nd, which actually is the SAU and the school board budget. So I will print the reports for the current budget, which is what we have is our base budget, and probably bring them for next board meeting, so you guys can discuss it and let me know if there is anything that you want to change or add, or if any changes need to be made. So we can present it to the budget committee on the 22nd. Okay?
Great. Thank you very much, Maria. Any questions on this?
I'm just, the 22nd, why did they pick that date? I'm just, it's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, it just might be difficult to try to do. Are there other alternate, their next meeting,
I can definitely ask them. It's just because it's so much that we have to clump into one, and they wanted to do it after they have all their presentations, obviously, because it's when they have all the budgets presented to them. But I can certainly ask them.
the following week just might be a little bit better.
The 12/8, the next
The
meeting,
28th, would that be, I'm sorry, the 29th?
that's a school board meeting, right?
No,
It's a
that's
Tuesday.
Oh, a
The
Tuesday.
22nd was a Tuesday, so I'm
Oh.
just looking at Tuesday, so with the,
Yeah, because that they make that, there's that on Tuesday because of Thanksgiving on Thursday.
okay.
So that's the only the only meeting that they have on Tuesday in observance of
Okay, and-
Thanksgiving, so.
Okay.
I can reach out to the budget committee and ask them if
I don't know
there will
if
be
the rest of
another
the board, I
day.
know I wouldn't be able to attend because I'd probably have to be getting my son from college that day, so. So, just, I don't know what everybody else's schedule looks like.
I can reach out to them and ask if there will be another.
Or if there's an alternate date that they might propose, and then run it by the. and
Yeah,
see.
or perhaps the following, which will be a 12/8. I don't know, I can ask them.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
If it's as needed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Maria.
You're welcome.
All right, the next item up is the special education survey update.
Okay, I'm gonna take that over. Kelly's not here tonight. You have an executive summary that speaks to the fact that on May 19th, we had brought forward draft surveys to continue with the special education audit, which there's the special education update here. In the executive summary speaks to a number of things, but the special education survey being the first. At that meeting on May 19th, there was discussion about the survey drafts that we brought forward. We had a lengthy discussion, it was about 10 minutes. If anybody wants to review that video, it runs from the 9-minute mark to approximately the 20-minute mark. We had a lengthy discussion, some great suggestions were made to modify the surveys, or better yet, really engage an agency such as UNH Survey Center, which we talked about, or even using SurveyMonkey professional subscription. We did communicate with UNH Survey Center. They have brought forward a proposal to us, which I think is a pretty reasonable cost. We talked about a variety of things with regard to the surveys. One was, expanding to a 5-point Likert scale as opposed to 4 points. Really what we were originally looking for was input more than research, but some excellent points were made, and the folks at UNH Survey Center, of course, agreed with those points, or that point in particular. The other piece, another significant suggestion, or a suggestion that results in really the need for something like another agency because of the significance of it, is asking open-ended questions. So if we were to ask open-ended questions, they could take care of all of that data for us, find themes, things like that. Those were two of the big points, but they weren't exclusive to just those things. But the third, one of the additional points being that it was a neutral agency to conduct the survey, so to increase the likelihood that people felt more comfortable, because we're looking to survey. It's a group of, it's 4 different groups of folks. It is administrators with one survey. It is professional staff, which is teachers, special ed teachers, related service providers, with another survey. The third survey are our paraprofessionals, and the fourth survey being families of identified children. So, as I said, we reached out to UNH Survey Center. They came back with what I would consider a pretty reasonable estimate or proposal for that kind of a project. We have 710 families currently, or 710 students identified for special education. So you're looking at, in some cases, multiple households for those kids. And then, of course, all of our staff. So 756, 59, something like that you reported in our opening, to be able to, respond to those surveys as well.
Okay, so they
Yes, please.
obviously reduced the number of questions, because you had many more than 15 questions. So they're recommending 15 questions with 2 open-ended questions, which I agree with. Once a survey gets too long,
Yeah.
people cancel out. And they're gonna help with the question design?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And they're gonna come and present if we want. I'm all for this.
I just want to say that I appreciate this level of outside-of-the-box thinking. I think it's a great way to hear from everybody, and teachers and families, and I think this is great.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I hope we can take this data too and present it at a conference or something, just to help others, or.
That's a great idea.
Just wanted to piggyback on something you kept saying. You're saying that this cost is pretty reasonable to do this kind of project. What is that in compared to, like, do you have other cost experience that you can refer to?
I don't remember what we paid. Well, we did a deal with them and let them steal our survey years ago, and they used it for other things. I mean, I'm comparing that even just to a consultant to come in for a day. You're looking at costs of $2,000 to $8,000 for a consultant to come in, or comparing it to consultants to conduct even the audit. So that's one of the things. I believe the board budgeted $10,000 for a consultant to come in and conduct the special education audit, which we haven't used any of. It's really been us conducting it, because I've been through so many of those where what work they ask you to do. They come and ask you to do the work, but there are other elements that we might need to look at somebody else to facilitate, like when you do a forum or something like that, in order to really have comfort in the engagement process of families and staff to be able to feel like they can speak freely. If I'm conducting the forum, it's likely that somebody doesn't feel free to speak. So, but just even looking at a cost like that to generate a report, this would be a piece of that cost, so I think it's a pretty reasonable cost.
Any other questions? I'll take a motion.
I could defer to Sandy. I don't know if we've done any other surveys at cost. No.
Not with an outside provider.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the total project cost of $3,519.83 to use the University of New Hampshire for a special education survey.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
So it looks like we have an enrollment update from Lucy.
So I have a verbal amendment to make to what you have in front of you. We did have another phone call this morning at TLC for AM kindergarten, and that would make 22 students in that morning class.
And you're still confident, based on the rest of the summary, that you can provide for that without seeking additional?
So we have some flexibility with the staffing at TLC. That call this morning is a little, more difficult because we only have the one session of half-day kindergarten. We didn't have any requests, or enough requests, I should say. We had one request for PM across the entire district. That got up to 2 by the end of summer across the whole district. So right now we only have that one half-day program at TLC. So if things like this continue to happen, this is rare. I've seen us add a classroom before, but I have never seen us in half-day go over that number of 20. For this number 22, we do feel like we have the staffing to be able to provide for that teacher per policy. But, we're going to have to really think about if another phone call comes in.
Don't answer.
Any questions for Lucy on this? So just to be clear, for those who don't have this in front of them and those watching, so there are now 22 students who have registered for AM kindergarten at TLC. The max capacity for the half-day kindergarten is 20 students, so.
By policy.
By policy, thank you. So we're looking to waive policy IIB, which is class size.
I'll make a motion to waive policy IAB.
Second?
Thank you. Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Oh.
One more, sorry. Do you have, is it more paras that you have? So,
The policy speaks to adding an hour for every student over capacity, and that would be through paraeducators.
so what does that mean? That you would have, so you have 2 extra students? So you would have another para, or you'd have 2 paras?
So there's already a para in that classroom full-time as a KIA that supports the whole class, and we would be adding an additional paraeducator for those 2 hours in the 2.5-hour program.
Thank you.
Sure.
Got that math?
Yeah, seriously.
Half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, 8-1. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
Next up are the job postings. Thank you, Fran.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Actually, I'd like to give a shout out to the administrators. They have done an amazing job this summer, really filling a lot of positions that we've had. We're actually down to about 11, of which 2 of these are actually in the personal nomination sheets tonight. So compared to other districts, compared to like Bedford that has quite a few, we've done an amazing job. And so I think a lot of credit goes to our administrative staff. If you guys have any questions, but.
So how are we covering physics?
I'm going to defer to you.
Subject that's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Having just
Before
taught all
Mark,
summer.
before
All
Mark
summer.
continues, though, I do want to say, not just our administrators, but Fran and the entire HR department has worked incredibly hard all summer long to really be super vigilant about getting folks in, getting them signed up, right up until those first days. All of them, excellent job, thank you.
And Mark, just to speak more broadly, other than physics, but just the classes that are unfilled, if you could, please.
Sure. So I can broadly spoken that, when we start making schedules back in January, we take into account, what students are requesting. I mean, this is specifically at the high school, what students are requesting, and we look at what teaching staff we have available and what certs they held, and how we can make a schedule with what we have at the time. In the physics case, we knew that was a retirement, and when we posted for it, at the time, we had very few, if not zero applicants. I believe we had one, and the person was not certified. They lived out of state, and there was no interest after we talked to them more about it. And so we realized that we were going to have to, the likelihood of filling that position was going to be slim to none. So we looked at the staff we had and how we could rearrange, and we filled those classes, or we not filled the classes. We are having another teacher teach those sections, and we rearranged and we sort of condensed some classes, and we made it work with the schedule or the number of students requesting certain classes, and we built the schedule knowing that we weren't going to fill that position. And so we're still offering all the physics classes that we offered last year. We're offering AP Physics. We didn't decrease in what we're offering. We just rearranged who's teaching what. So with that retirement, we're now somebody else is just teaching those classes.
Thank you.
So are we still looking to hire for this year, for this position, or not? then?
That physics position should have gotten taken down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not showing that it's
Oh,
open
okay.
any longer. So, right now, it's a position that, we don't need to fill as a physics position. Mr. Vaccarezza and I have talked about, other uses of that position to serve the students of Timberlane, just not in the capacity as a physics teacher.
And is that the same with the middle school math teacher?
The middle school math teacher, I believe, has been filled.
Oh, okay. Because the others are all covered. Those are the only two teaching positions on this list that don't
Yeah,
appear.
so I believe that middle school math teaching position, the interventionist from the year prior moved into that math teaching position, as far as I know, and then we hired an interventionist for that. I think it's just getting caught up with the moves and what's still open versus what's filled.
Okay, so we have all the teaching positions covered.
As far as I know, at least at the secondary level that I've privy to, we do have a long-term sub math teaching position coming up, that if anyone knows anyone that can do a middle school long-term sub math teaching position, we are going to need that. But
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Well done. That's really, really great, so. Okay, next is the superintendent's evaluation and goal setting. You also do have a proposed superintendent's goals. Thank you, Chris, for giving these to us to look through. So we did also attach the policy, CBI. Board members, I'll give you a second to just look through those and see if we have any questions.
So are we discussing these now?
Yep.
And I've just had, I think we just got these, right, this afternoon? Okay. So I haven't had a chance to look too in-depth in this, but just a quick perusal here. I'd like to see a goal related to academics in terms of how we're going to improve our academic achievement, given the fact that by all metrics that we have available to us, Timberlane does not even, it has dropped over the last few years. So I'd like some quantitative way of which to measure that. And normally, when each of the schools comes in, they come in and say, we want to hit this benchmark or this benchmark. But we should be thinking holistically as a district, what we're going to do to improve the academic environment.
I like that idea.
Would that be under 2.5?
Under two what?
2.5?
I don't see it.
You looked in the escalables.
Oh, sorry. I jumped ahead, sorry.
That makes sense. So specific to those, especially specific to the metrics that we have available, that we could quantify something.
Yes, I'm always into quantifying things. So, yeah, I would like to see that because, you know, that's what people look at as an extrinsic tool to see how we're doing performance-wise.
Yep. Any other comments? I would, rather than voting on these tonight, I would like to give the board some time to review these and maybe vote on these at our next meeting. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
But I do like the suggestions there, or the suggestion. And if you, I guess I would say to the board, if you have suggestions going through these, if you want to email those to me, I can put together an updated list, share those with Chris, and then
Generate
can-
it beforehand and get
Yep.
it back out.
yeah. That sound good to everybody?
Yep.
All right, great. Thank you again, Chris, for providing these.
You're welcome.
You guys looking at the time, 7:49, and we got through the agenda? Just saying. All right, on to the administrator's report.
And no pressure there, thank you.
Yeah, right, well, purposeful. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I do have a lot of items, I'll try and keep them quickly, though. Transportation, we do absolutely realize that, this time of year, transportation is always a bit dicey. It's compounded, of course, in the past, I'd say several years, but I believe it's been at least a decade of bus driver shortages, so much so that there's been litigation, there were bills, all kinds of things to address it at the state level for years now, none of which have really worked. So one of the things we're working with First Student on is really looking at how can we refine our routes. That's going to take shape over the course of the next few months, looking at ridership counts, looking at how we can methodically, carefully, and conscientiously look at maybe making some adjustments to some of the routes, add a street to this bus, remove a couple streets from that bus, things like that. Because as you all know, in addition to the number of students, geography plays a pretty big part. We have a pretty good area to cover, so we're going to continue to use that data to make more predictable, more consistent bus routes that get kids to school and to home in a more timely fashion. And having said that, we understand there'll be some growing pains with that, so please bear with us. Keep the lines of communication open. On our website, under the transportation link, you can go, there's a bus stop safety/concerns form that you can complete. When you, sorry about that, when you.
The timer on himself. Good.
That if you go there, if you have concerns about primarily the safety of your bus stop, that you can list those things. If you have concerns about the bus stop, it's really not so much about convenience. One of the things I did ask Ken to add to that page too are the laws, the 189:6 laws that speak to school bus stops. And while we all know that a distance may seem pretty far, you'd be surprised when you look at the law, kids can be required to walk up to a mile to a school bus stop, or even 1.5 miles in some cases. We're not even coming close to those distances, but we do have to look at how we might need to expand the distance between bus stops.
Chris,
I do have a safety question here.
Yes.
Is there a concern with the number of students on a bus as you're combining routes to different buses?
Yeah, always. Yeah, there's a maximum number of riders. We don't even approach that. If you look at on the side of the bus, it tells you the capacity. We don't even come close to the capacity, because that capacity is based on 3 children in each seat. And in most cases, I mean, unless they're very small children who want to sit together, the most we ever have is typically 2 children in a seat. And of course, in high school and middle school, there are no 3 kids sitting to a seat.
Right. Is there any, as you mentioned, is there any concern with like the elementary students, especially when you do have younger ones who are in kindergarten or even in pre-K in some cases?
Yeah, historically, the district has actually picked kindergarten students up at the homes whenever possible, if we could get a bus to the home. I know, like in my case, where I live on a cul-de-sac, it wasn't easy for them to negotiate the cul-de-sac, so they never came down there. No big deal, we walked up the street to the bus stop. But whenever possible, kindergartners, young kids, and you raise a good point, gives me the opportunity to mention, the bus company does require, and school districts typically also have, share in that requirement, that children preschool through grade 2 are accompanied by a parent or an adult or an older sibling, that the school bus driver has been made aware that this is, Chris's older sibling, and he's going to be here to take Chris off the bus each day, or he helps put Chris on the bus.
So Chris, I just have 2 comments. One is, in my experience so far, as a parent this year, from Monday to today, the bus has been so much smoother. And so I maybe that's just my experience, but I think they're doing a tremendous job, even though they are short-staffed. And then the second piece that I do want to bring up is just kudos to you on the communication with the challenges that you faced over the weekend with the bus website not being up and those routes. And I thought there are a lot of parents who really, really appreciated the consistent messaging that happened. So that's something that they're not used to, that they're getting more consistently used to. So well done on that.
Thank you.
Excuse me. I hate to differ in that a little bit. So, because my granddaughter's on a bus was an hour and 40 minutes late. Never happened before. But so my question is who are they supposed to call?
So
who like seriously?
Yes.
That everything's fine
Yes.
now. But who? I kind of asked this at the last school board meeting. Who do you call?
Yes.
Because for an hour and 40 minutes there was 8 families. Mine was 1. Where's the kid?
Right, yes. So following our conversation.
But so people know what's going on.
Yes. I sent out really a procedure to all of our schools, asking that we not ask parents to call the bus company. I outlined a couple of procedures both for our school staff and for the bus company. Asking the bus company provide the following information to us as much as possible, so that when they call it backing up buses, where now, so the kids are supposed to be on bus 112, and instead they're on bus 118. As soon as they let us know that, as the school, we need to assume that they're going to be late. And whether they're going to be late or not, we need to message out to families to say, the kids from bus 112 on, Johnson's Way are now going to be riding bus 118. We can message just those students on bus 118. Now, we have to make sure that all of our data is up to date through Power School and things like that, so there could be nuances that we find, the correct information isn't in there for a particular kid, and so that's going to require us to remain vigilant and focus on that. But in that circumstance, the school was unaware, they were told, put the kids on this
Sure.
bus, and they're gonna, go to that road on this bus. They weren't made aware that they could be late. Well, in fact, of course, the bus driver did the whole other route first.
Sure.
And then went to deliver the kids. So we have to just assume, the direction to our staff that I gave was, just assume anytime kids are going to change buses, we want to put a notice out because they may be late and say, please, be ready for delays. And who are they supposed to call? Call us as a school. Again, in direction to that was, if you're calling the bus company, it's typically chaos there. There's one or two people answering phones during pickup and arrival. I don't know if you've ever been in a bus depot, a public school bus depot during that time. It's quite a field trip to experience it. And what I've instructed our staff is, parents don't want to be told to call down there. Phone's ringing, they're not getting answers. They're entrusting their children to us. We need to be the trusted adults to work with them. We will reach out to the bus company and get that information, and then either contact them directly or provide additional messaging as necessary.
Yeah,
That's the gist of it, but.
That's what I would hope, that
Yeah.
parents would be calling the school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at the time, right, the office staff were unaware actually where the kids were, so they're saying, we don't know, call,
Sure.
thinking they're given the right direction to call and maybe even giving out the number, but in fact, it's not as effective as it needs to be. So we have to work together on it.
So Chris, with your, with everything that happened, because something similar happened in Danville on Monday as well, you're saying that with Mondays, kind of, a little tricky times with the buses, with that, you put that policy or that
I put
procedure
out-
into
yeah, I
place
did.
with
Yes.
all the elementary schools and all the
Yes.
schools. So it's very, very clear, and they will put that out to the families, or like they'll say to the families, if you have a problem with the bus, because I
They
mean, I
were-
haven't seen
they-
anything yet, so.
Okay, so I will follow up with
Yeah.
them to make sure that,
I haven't heard anything.
Yep.
Maybe it would be on the PTA pages or something like that, just
we'll put it everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Just to be sure that it's coming out to the families, because,
Yeah, I think it's similar. We had something in Sandown as well, and I will say, like, I did call the school, and they did at that point tell us the information, and I don't know if they have the opportunity to get in touch with the bus driver. I don't know. But they called, or I got a message back after that. But it's only been that one day, and it seems like it's gotten better. But it's good to hear that there's a procedure in place now, and that.
Make it more formal and I'll
Sure.
message.
thank you.
Do we still use the first lap?
We do, it's been a little wonky with some, again, updating of the data that goes in there.
First view.
First view.
That's the one of the comments I was gonna make too, is that, we have an app that has access to be able to track the bus,
Yeah,
but
the
it's not
bus-
always
you can
real time
track-
and it doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work, but.
Correct.
Right.
Really?
And it's GPS, so it might be a couple of minutes off, right?
Yes.
Right.
Signals going up into
Right.
outer space and coming
So
back
it
from
gives
the
you an idea if
satellite.
you know your
Yes.
child's on a certain bus, yeah.
Yes.
Well, it gives you an idea of where your bus is at,
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Do we advertise?
The other thing that,
We used to, we used to advertise that, I don't know. that-
it's
is
on the
it
website,
website,
it is
so-
on the website, it
But I
needs to be
haven't
updated.
seen anything come out recently, so maybe it's
Not
worth.
the first grades, so that we're-
I know,
Effective, but
I guess
it's,
as a
That's it,
school
right?
board member not knowing about that, I just wonder if others who
Yeah.
don't know about that,
So-
so.
So we'll,
I mean,
Maybe I
it's
didn't
not,
pay attention.
I wouldn't say rely on it 100%,
No.
but it's helpful, like, if in the morning you're like, wait, did the bus go by? And all of a sudden you can look and see, oh no, it's, just running late, it's still on its route.
If
three
you know the
streets
route.
over or something.
if you know where it comes
Right.
first and it's following that route,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
The other software that we have, and this was where the glitch was, is the Edulog query, which is pretty cool. That's something I had never had experience with before. And that also needed some updating as far as data, which we give them dumps from Power School. They upload that into their software. So, for example, I can put in, Livia Kellen, you have to make sure you change the grade, you have to scroll all the way, make sure you're seeing the whole page, so you're, setting all the different domains and the requirements in the search. And once it does that, boom, it comes up and it shows you, here's where the bus stop is, here's the bus that they ride. And of course, that one keeps coming up, bus 112, and bus 112, we've been informed, will not be on the road until further notice. So right now, bus 118. And how they're going to have to make some updates to that for temporary stuff. We've asked them to update it in this first month as frequently as possible, but then monthly thereafter.
That's great.
And I do just want to make a comment about the bus capacity, because I have a student that's at Pollard, and he is on a bus that's helping out a bus that doesn't exist right now, and their buses are pretty full.
Yeah, because
So
of
when we are thinking about and looking forward into making more efficient routes and things of that nature, I think under normal circumstances, when we have the correct amount of drivers and the correct amount of buses, seating isn't an issue, but it is a little crowded right now, so we hope everyone can just, be patient as we work through that. But
And
they
that's why
are
we need that.
definitely full.
Well, that's why we need that ridership information.
Yep.
That's the first place to start. So they should be, it'll be monthly, but I've asked them to do it through next week, all next week for the 4 days, and provide that to us. And then probably, we'll do it in probably the 4th week of September as well, or the last week, whatever it is, 4th or 5th week.
I'd be curious to know the ridership issue for the middle school, because I think everyone drives their kids to school that goes to the middle school.
Billy's bus is not very full.
No,
I'm like-
it's- right.
Yeah.
And can we
it's-
capitalize
I mean,
by
that's just-
reallocating a bus that way?
I mean, just, yeah.
Right.
Because the traffic in the morning is insane, which is majority middle school, from what I can tell. It's really coming in and doing that. It backlogs all the high school.
Yeah, I
Trying to
know.
get into
Yeah.
any spot because
Yeah.
you just can't even get onto Greeno from either direction.
Good progress again, this morning. It
I know
was,
you're out there doing traffic control.
it's
I'm waiting.
7:05
Not
to
even gonna say it, I'm just-
7:22.
Justin, you're good, right? You're on board, so, because he's out there in the middle playing in traffic all day, so. I just want to make sure we're all good
25
with you,
minutes.
Justin.
It's 25 minutes, and believe me, I have some additional plans for people.
I'm sure you do.
Okay, great.
We're still combining middle and high school on some routes, are we not?
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yep.
good.
Yes.
I'm actually kind of shocked at the time that the bus is getting by my house, which is 6:13 in the morning.
It's early,
It's really early, especially where there's a combined route, so I'm
and when it gets
kinda-
dark,
Yeah.
it's
No,
early.
It's about 15 minutes earlier than it used to be, which I'm kind of confounded by.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with the Danville routes, but that's way too early. Is you getting very, very early bus?
We're at exactly the same time every day, 6:30. She's there at 6:30. But, I mean, it was that way last year too. But I've heard from a lot of
It's
other
very
families
early.
in Danville
Yeah,
that aren't happy about the time.
yeah, it's
look
really,
into that.
I don't know if they're getting here on time or early, because they're really picking up early.
Yeah.
Great.
I'll look into that.
Good questions, good conversation.
That was number one.
Oh, yeah, I know, wow. Like I said, I spoke too soon, I'm sorry.
So, we
You
touched
had
on
set the
number
timer.
2, though,
No.
arrival and dismissal. We'll continue to refine the process at the high school and middle school. Please look for increased presence of staff, so please pay attention to the folks directing the staff, pulling all the way up. I call it the carport in front of the high school, continue down to the end, even if you don't see people behind you, because invariably, when you stop short, people show up behind you. And then, for the safety of kids walking through the parking lot, and adults for that matter. It doesn't take much to cause a backup onto Greeno, so if we can just be mindful of that and continue to work with us with that. The Hall of Fame ceremony will be September 29th at the Atkinson Country Club. Tickets are available. You can contact Mr. Fantasia's office or go to the website. And actually, we have tickets for school board members. Thank you very much. Thanks for grabbing those for me.
Thank you.
So I'm going to pass those and pass them,
Take them
pass
out,
them back
pass
the
them
other way, but,
Thank you.
so that should be a fun event. I think it's been 3 years since they've held the event, so everyone's excited about that. Facilities tours, September 7th, main campus, high school and middle school tour for the budget committee. Please join us, come and see our facilities, so you know what we're talking about when we're talking about what's needed in our budget. Just a reminder, there is no school tomorrow, Friday, September 2nd, and no school Monday, September 5th, Labor Day. However, we do have 2 games this weekend. There is a field hockey game, a varsity field hockey game away at Exeter on Friday, tomorrow at 10 a.m. And we start our Friday Night Lights tomorrow night. Varsity football versus Manchester Memorial at 6:30. So even though we don't have school, we have some games, so please check those out. JV football also this weekend, September 3rd, away versus Manchester Memorial, so that's in Manchester. But go to our athletics page, please take a look. Go to the performing arts page, take a look. Go to the calendar of the events. There are a number of other activities. There's always something going on. We'd love to have the community come out and support all of the kids and all of the adults. You know, I always say, you know, things like Friday Night Lights and performances and things, they're some of the best things that happen in our community, and it's the place to be during those times, so please enjoy them. Performing Arts, Thursday, September 15th will be the first Milkmen Improv of the school year, and that's in the recital hall at 7 p.m., again on September 15th. On September 12th, the Timberland Regional High School will be hosting a college fair. Excited about that. I hear we're going to have approximately 100 tables at that college fair, so that's exciting. We have a strategic planning meeting on September 7th at 7 p.m. here.
I believe it's here.
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 And other than that, have a great Labor Day weekend, everyone.
Can I just ask a quick question? Do we have a new student rep?
No,
No offense, Chris,
no.
I mean, but you know.
I know, believe me. I miss Kaylee doing these, yes, so I reached out, and I'll let Justin go ahead, and I'll be able to fill you in on what I heard back. I'll quickly preface, sorry, Justin, I've reviewed the policy. The policy required that we had a new student rep by June. We can easily waive policy if what happened was nobody ran for that, nobody campaigned for it. So I have heard since that time there might have been a couple, I was, saying to Kaylee, hey, who can you get who might be interested? And I had heard that there were a couple of students that might be interested. So in reviewing the policy, and what I reached out to the school to say was, why don't you put it back out there and hold a special election? We could waive policy to bring in a school board rep, a student rep, in the next couple of weeks if they are able to conduct an election, if there are students that are interested.
And I would hope so. I think Kaylee had it was a rough ride for her, unfortunately. Just with the scheduling and the way meetings went, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the students are now, not that I don't think any of them are watching, but hopefully the word will get spread that, it's a good atmosphere, and we'd like to have someone back if someone would like to join us.
Yes, we'd love it.
Great. Okay, next is the personnel report. Looks like we have,
Justin has a
Did you-
couple.
oh, I apologize, Justin.
I thought you were just trying to motor on.
I was not, no, nope.
So, just three quick things to share with you guys around just opening. One will focus on staff, one will focus on kids, and one will focus on the admin of the district. So we had our opening staff day last Thursday on the 25th. If you've ever been into a school when staff are coming back, it's a really awesome time to kind of watch and just listen. There's a lot of excitement about camaraderie, about connecting with colleagues again. There's also a lot of excitement about who's going to be on my roster, what's coming up that next day when kids are coming in the building. So we drank some great Nectar's Nature in the morning, had some great coffee. The day for them was really about professional development, but the cornerstone of that day was gathering everybody who works in this district at the PAC and really having a singular message that we are a single district and that we, no matter what your role is in a school building, you have an impact on young people that are in front of you. So we gave a kind of a state of the district. We used a lot of numbers to do that. So we talked about some of those things tonight. We had 336 new registrations for students since the close of the last year. We've hired close to maybe 40 people across the district staff-wise. We looked at the number of kids who participate in athletic programming, and that was close to 700. We also tallied up how many kids performed on the stage at the PAC last year, and that was close to 1,100. So trying to give the staff a picture of the district, kind of using numbers, things that they may not have in their own individual buildings or classrooms, to again highlight that message that you make a difference, you have an impact, and we're doing things together as a singular school district. So it was a powerful day. Chris got to tell a story that day on stage about a teacher who had an impact with him. to reinforce that message. And then we were able to sit with administrators through the summer and do some video interviewing of them about how they felt about staff and teaching and what has informed their administrative practice. We got to show that to the staff as well. And then the best part of the day was us interviewing kids and getting them on camera talking about what it feels like to be in their schools, things that they remember through the year, how they feel about the adults in the building, and we got the staff to hear their voices as well. So, powerful day. For kiddos at the opening, just lifting up every school building, their open houses were incredibly engaging. There was activity there, they were student-centered, a lot of the kids and families were directing their own kind of experience. I think that there was a ton of value in that. And then the arrival for all the buildings, if you're out there, if you're dropping off, or if you're just there, you see the staff out there, you see the smiles on their face, you see the kind of love that they are sharing with kids and families as they're getting out of those cars and off those buses. So that had an impact on me being there. Elementary schools ran morning meetings for the first time, so kids sitting on the carpet, talking about sharing, turn-taking, eye contact, complete sentences. It's uncomfortable to sit on the Floridian style, but it's a great way to start a day. I would have been proud to have my own kids in there. The middle school, when you got to their first day, those teachers were all about establishing that relationship right up front, and there was a lot of good conversation about what you're going to feel at school this year and kind of what's on the agenda. And then for the high school, their PLT, their admin team is really set and already marching on about developing strategies and things for the school year. So already responding to student and staff issues, and that was an impressive thing to observe. And the last thing we've done as a group of administrators is that we've set our kind of administrative calendar building and district-wide for the year. So we've established purposes for those groups, what their outcomes are going to be. We've developed a shared kind of agenda about how we're going to deliver information to admin, but also how we're going to solicit some feedback and input about what they need to be the most effective building leaders that they can be. So that stuff is set up, and we're starting to ready to roll with that next week.
That's all?
That's it. That's it. First week.
Well done. Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
And yes, I do have information back there. Applications will be made available on September 7th. They are due September 14th. They'll be available in the front office with Mrs. Laycock. Campaigning will run from the 14th to the 20th, and the election will be on the 20th until 2:20 p.m. The student body will vote throughout the school day using a Google form. So,
So hopefully in October.
yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the personnel report. So looks like we have 2 nominations.
I'll make a motion to accept the nomination of Andrew Riccardi, special ed teacher at the high school, and Marianne McDonough, school counselor at Pollard Elementary.
Second.
Thank you. Have a
Motion and a second.
yep, that, I have both of those. Any questions, conversations? All in favor? Yep. We also have 2 professional resignations. Kendra Cahill, BCBA, district-wide, and Allison Lenahan, art teacher at Sandown North.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2 resignations.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and a second. Any questions, comments, concerns? All in favor? Thank you. Committee reports. We'll go around the table. Brian? Nada. Kim?
I spoke with Sandy about joining her in the curriculum and assessment. So we're gonna get our schedule together and we'll have that available soon.
Great. Mark?
BudCom met on the 25th. Maria kind of highlighted some of those wonderful points, especially with the audit. We introduced the new members from Sandown, Sierra and Karen. And there was a real emphasis to push the facilities tour. And so it was agreed upon that all of us would reach out to our individual towns' PTAs to let them know and invite them to help get the word out. We also personally invited every selectman for our representative towns. I spoke to the selectmen. We posted in libraries, communities, the little stores in town, et cetera, trying to get the word out. that these facility tours are open to the public. It is encouraged. This is where a lot of our tax money goes. And it's, potentially more challenging to vote down a line item once you have seen the actual need for that line item, or potentially, call some things into question so that we do have to prioritize needs versus wants. So again, the public is absolutely welcome. All tour times start at 5 o'clock. Tuesday the 6th, Timberlane Middle School, followed by the Performing Arts Center, then the high school. September 8th, Sandown North, followed by Central, and we'll be ending in Danville at the Danville Elementary School, and on the 20th of September, starting at Pollard and ending at Atkinson. And a lot of us who, and you had made this point earlier, Steve, growing up in Sandown, I went to those schools, but I had never been inside of Pollard. Okay, we are a community, we are one community, so anyone from Sandown is invited and welcome to any of the other district towns, and it's reciprocal, of course. So the public is welcome.
Great, thank you. Kristen?
Nothing specific. The safety committee has a very active schedule coming up over the next couple of months, just to make sure that we're moving forward with the training that's happening. We are meeting right after the day after the TLC training, just to see how it goes, to see if we need to tweak anything or do anything moving forward for the other schools, and going from there. And then, again, just several meetings after that to figure out how we continue to move forward and get all the training in. The training that will be happening, as we said, in that bulk in October, hopefully, and then after that, it doesn't stop there.
Right.
It just continues to go. So that's what we'll be focusing on pretty much for this year to get things up and running.
Great. The policy committee met today, so we'll be having more policies coming to the board next meeting. And then just all of the union negotiations are ongoing. Yeah, that's it. Kim? I stole your thunder.
No,
Sorry.
you stole my thunder. That's okay. Sorry, I'm just looking at my phone. I think we have a CIP meeting coming up pretty soon, don't we?
Yeah.
When is that? Does somebody have that date? Why didn't I have that on my calendar?
It is coming up. I forget what it is too.
Anyway, we should have a CIP meeting. Oh, here it is. Wait.
There it is.
Found
September.
September 27th.
Yep.
There'll be a CIP meeting.
Great. September 27th.
We were delaying that because we're, still have the performance contract, assessing all the building needs to then prioritize what our capital expenditures should be.
Great. Shauna?
I have nothing.
Katie?
Nope, I'm good.
Michael?
No.
Fantastic. Okay.
Next time, start on that side, so that we won't all steal their thunder, so.
All right,
Then
got
let
it.
them go
Next time.
first next time.
All right, good. Okay, with nothing else to talk about, we do have a non-public scheduled for today under 91-A:3C. We will not, we'll be coming out just to seal the minutes, but other than that, I think that will end our public portion of this evening. So, I know, I'm getting better at this. We do need to take a roll call to go into non-public.
Brian Boyle,
Yes.
Kim McCormick.
Yes.
Mark Sherwood.
Yes.
Kristen Savage.
Yes.
Stephen Finnegan.
Yes.
Kim Farah.
Yes.
Shauna Manthorn.
Yes.
Kate Knutson.
Yes.
Michael Boucher.
Yes.
Great, thank you, good night.